So taking the right gear with you for your pet while you're out and about, whether it's at camp or on the trail, is going to be essential for their comfort and their safety. The idea for this video came, I noticed another content creator, and it's Gone Feral with Squiddly. He has a new pup that he's getting ready to start introducing to the outdoors, and was asking for essential gear, and it kind of dawned on me, we've never done this, so let's jump in. So first, one thing that I can't stress enough is actually having your pet microchipped. It's just a little implantable chip that goes behind their shoulders. Any of the veterinary offices, if your dog gets lost, is going to be able to scan that and look it up. I will tell you, if you microchip your dog and you move residence or you change your phone number, be sure to go into the system where your microchip is registered and change that information on yourself so that they can't track you down. And behind that, obviously, is for those of us who don't have a scanner running around. Obviously, you want a good collar on them with your information on there. This is just a metal plate one that my wife ordered. It just has Topo's name on there, and then also my phone number. And it doesn't dangle; it just threads onto the actual collar, and so there's no chance of her losing that. The only thing that really dangles over here is her rabies vaccine. Now, you guys will notice too, there's this little box on the collar. So this is one of the 5 GPS tracking collars. It does require there to be a cell phone signal. The signal does, when it's near the home base, it lasts for about a month between charges. But then when you're out in the field like this, you get about 7 to 10 days, somewhere in that neighborhood. Just depends on how much scanning it's doing, how much looking for a signal it is. But you get a good week on that. So this has allowed me to keep tabs on her whenever we get out and about, if she gets very far away from me. And from the app on my phone, especially at nighttime, this is a good feature. You can go through and you can turn a light on that lights this whole section up, so you can kind of see her when she's out moving around, even if she doesn't have her other collar on. And one other tip about identification for your dog before you venture out. If your dog is like Topo, she looks like a completely different dog between trims versus non-trimmed. So like right now, she looks very different than she did 2 weeks ago, because we finally got her groomed last week. Take a recent picture of your dog before you go out, just in case she does get lost. Then you've got something that's pretty current for people to help, if you have to like hand out pictures if you're trying to look for her. She's like a completely different dog. So at nighttime, if she's going to be running around a lot, especially if we've kind of made camp and I have a kind of off leash for a little while, I do typically put this on her. This is one of the NiteIze rechargeable collars, and you can go through and you can just cycle through. I don't know if it's going to show in here, but you can cycle through different colors. So depending on what you're looking for at night to make her more visible, and kind of go through and flick this on, and I can see her from a pretty good distance out, as it lights up this entire loop through here. And it lasts for quite a while on a charge, but I do like it because I can recharge it from my battery pack around camp if I've killed it, and then it just slips over a hit nice and easy. So I've got it sized so that I don't have to unhook it and hook it very often, and it just threads up and over. So this at nighttime is awesome. Even though I do keep Topo up on all of her normal sort of flea and tick meds, before we go out, and if it's going to be in a spot where I feel like there's probably a lot of stuff out there we can be exposed to, just like I spray my own clothing with the Permethrin, I'll also take this Permethrin For Dogs, and I'll go through and I'll give her a light dusting too. Does a pretty good job of keeping all the creepy crawlies off of her. Now, when it comes to the actual backpacking gear, the one thing that everyone thinks about is obviously the backpack. Having one that's properly fit to your dog that you can go through and adjust, make it fit them really well, is always essential. Just like we would never venture into the wild without a properly fitting backpack ourselves, it's just as essential for your dog so that they can be safe and comfortable on the trail. Now, when it comes to comfort, they say the dogs can carry 10 to 25% of their body weight. I really subscribe to keeping that as low as possible. She has a relatively good sized backpack, and I do let her carry certain things, but anything heavy I usually take out of there. Now, if we're just going camping like we are this weekend, I will bring her backpack because I have so many of her essentials packed into it, and this way I know I have everything as we're going out. So let's look and see what's inside here. So usually tethered to the outside, clipped up here on a carabiner, are 2 of these collapsible, kind of rubberized latex food and water bowls. So I just have 2 different colors. One gets water, one gets food. Those go along with us all the time. And then speaking of food, I usually put our food in here, just in little pre-packaged. I usually do half of it on one side and half of it on the other side. Just in little pre-packaged Ziploc bags by meal. So she's kind of portion size, so all I have to do is just pour one out and she's ready to go. I do also keep a bag of her daily probiotics in here. She usually keeps her belly from getting a little sick while we're out and about because she gets too much excitement and kind of off of her routine. Sometimes she'll get a little sick belly. So that stays in there. There's this morning's food. One major concern that we always have when we're out and about is paw protection. So she's running these little Ruff wear with the Vibram soles. These are really only used for us. If we're in a spot where we have a lot of broken up rocks, things that are sharp, they're going to possibly cut our paws, or if we're in a spot where there are lots of thorns, or if the ground is actually too hot. You know, if it's super hot outside and we're on surfaces, it would probably burn her. If I can't put my hand down on the surface, then I'm not going to expect her to walk on it. So we run these. I tried several different pair before we settled in on these. These actually stay on her feet really well, and so I've been very pleased with these. End of the day, whether we have worn the shoes or not, I will usually, if we've done very many miles, I'll go through and kind of treat her feet with this Mushers Secret. This stuff's really good. It kind of helps her feet, a little moisturizing for it, and then at the same time kind of helps them recover at the end of a long day. Now, sticking on the first aid front, we do share a common first aid kit because many of the items in my kit would also apply for her. I do, in her bag, keep one extra roll of this vet wrap. And then she also gets, let's see, I think it's in this pocket back here. Also the quick stop Styptic Powder in case she gets a bleed like in her nail bed or something like that, or just a puncture. This stuff works really well. Hey, before I forget to mention it, look around and see if you can find a canine first aid class. I know we offer those through Hike-ALOT here in Dallas. It's definitely something that would be hugely beneficial if your little furry companion does get hurt on the trail. Okay, so inside here, I do have a bark collar that is rechargeable that I almost never put on her because she's usually not that mouthy. But if we're in a spot where we're around a lot of people and she starts acting up, I will turn this thing on and just set it to vibrate. And she knows what it is. That is usually enough for her to be quiet for the rest of the night. I do carry one tube of the poop bags for the dog, and this one actually also has a little flashlight on there too. So if we're out and about at night and I'm having to chase her around and look for the poo, that makes that easy, so that usually stays in here. Now when it comes to leashes, I usually have 3, and I'm not making her carry all of these. It just depends on what the outing is. So this first one is by Arcadia Trail, so this is from PetSmart. This is the hands-free leash, so I just loop this through my belt, right through here. And you can actually stretch it out and go around your waist if you want to, but I usually just clip it in my belt. And then she can roam around out in front of me and me not actually have to have hands on to control her. So she gives her enough length that she can get out in front of me and me not bump her with the trekking poles. And so this is typically what she is always on. Now when we get to camp, I will put her on this because she's Houdini. She will actually go through, and if you're not watching her, she'll chew through a cloth leash really quickly, and then she's out running around. So I had this little metal leader, and I'll usually just wrap it around a tree, take the carabiner and clip it, and then she can't go anywhere. Or a lot of times I'll go through and take and run a little paracord run line between 2 trees and just hook this over it, and then she can just run back and forth like a runner. And then the last leash I carry is just a little cloth leash like this. More often than not, we're just using this for day hikes and things like this. If we are out, it's always in the bag just in case we're doing like short stuff, and it's okay like to run in a store or something with her, and I don't want to leave her in the car. I'll kind of take this, and this way it keeps her much closer to me, and so I have more control over her. One reason I like the little cloth leashes because you can, and if you have to, you can make a muzzle for them, kind of impromptu. We'll just do a little loop through here. Look over here at me. Pull it closed, and then come behind their ears and tie a bow in it back here, and then you have a muzzle dog. Now speaking of muzzles, I do have like a hard plastic basket muzzle that sometimes I will bring if we're going to be around a lot of people. We didn't bring that with us this weekend because we don't need it. Now, right, Topies? Now, I am not a harness person. My whole household, I think they just encourage the dogs to pull, so we do use these little pinch collars. I do not like the choker collars, but we like the pinch collars. And I do not think these things are inhumane. As long as you're not snatching and pulling them on them, and it's just a gentle correction when she starts to get too far away or something. Usually it's just enough of a tug with her walking in and of itself that she self-corrects. She actually likes having hers on because she knows when it's on, we're getting ready to go do something, aren't you? All goes inside of her little backpack, and this is by Olly Dog. Like I said, I looked at several backpacks just like the shoes. I looked at quite a few of them to kind of settle in on something. She's a 40-pound dog, and this one fits her really well. I like the adjustability of it all. If we're out and about walking, one thing that I do wrestle with is the leash getting caught under her foot. So I figured out if I run the leash under the drag handle and then clip it right here, then the leash comes out the back of her, and she can go from there. And so if I'm not using the actual pinch collar on there, she's behaving really well, I can come through and hook it right here, and then we don't have that issue. But if she is kind of being a little naughty, I can still come underneath here and then straight to the pinch that's at the back of her head right here, and then that works just as well. Now, a couple of little gear items for her. We are often out when it is cold and rainy and things like that. I don't even know where I got this from. I think it was from PetSmart. It's just a little rain jacket. She does like it. It helps keep her somewhat dry. That works pretty well. And then she does also have an Arcadia Trail pet sleeping bag. This one goes to her. She hunkers down in that thing, and she's pretty darn toasty. I don't carry a separate bed for her because, quite honestly, she just cuddles up with me in mine. So I'll usually slide her into this sleeve, and then she kind of goes into the sleeping bag or just off to the side of the sleeping bag with me. Now, this water bottle does go with us whether we're day hiking or just out and about running around or even backpacking, and I'm usually the one carrying this because this is how we carry the water. It's not the biggest one, but she actually likes using this one. You can just push the water up, she drinks from it. When you're done with it, sucks it right back down in there so you have it lost in, and you just flip the switch to close it. It actually works really well for us, and she likes this thing. And when it's not in use, it too is just tethered to her backpack, or I've pretty much left it in the truck. One thing in terms of the hydration piece, my rule of thumb is whenever I stop and take a drink, I offer it to her, whether she takes it or not. It's kind of the way we've done it so far. She usually takes water about every other time that I stop and take it. So another item that I do always carry on me that's not physically on her, carry a little snack pouch over here. This is just my Mighty Paw. Just pop that thing open, it's got her little treats in there. It's usually enough to make her pay attention to me. She likes the Crunchios. It does have a little poop bag dispenser on the side of it, so I have plenty of those. I hate running out of those things while you're out and about. A couple little zipper pockets, a little mesh pocket up front. Usually never do anything with those, but it just clips onto the belt loop, and this thing stays in my truck all the time too because I'm constantly fishing out for this thing with her. So the last real remaining piece of gear that I can think of right off the top of my head that she has that I actually didn't bring out here. We just recently picked up a pair of the RexSpecs Goggles. Don't want her getting poked in the eyes with thorns and little branches and things like that while we're out. So we have just started working with those. It's not completely in our repertoire yet, but she's getting really close. And then last but not least is the comfort item. And I actually have to hide it from her when I want her to calm down. She knows exactly where it is. It's the tennis ball. If you want to hypnotize a doodle, all you need is a tennis ball. I do carry a brightly colored one, so if she loses it in the grass, she can find it. So the right gear and a little bit of preparation, you and your adventure dog can go out and have a successful outing, keep him or her happy and healthy while they're out exploring that. She's having a ball out here, running around like she's crazy. They enjoy being out with us, taking these adventures just like we do. So take them with you every opportunity you have. Be sure that be sure that you do understand the leash laws and regulations out there, and even if it is safe to have them off leash, sometimes it's still not the best thing in the world to do. So just use your own discretion. With everything that I've listed out and shown today, if there's a piece of gear that you are interested in, I'll throw links in the description below so you guys can go ahead and check those out. We've done quite a bit of research on and figuring the right things that worked for her. So I'm pretty settled in, pretty content with everything that we've got so far. So if you enjoyed this content, be sure to like and subscribe and share this content if you would, please. It definitely helps the channel out. I would certainly appreciate it. Your dog is going to appreciate you checking this video out if you picked up a couple tidbits that you can use going forward. So we'll see you out there soon. You come here. You come here to me.